In this summer program, volunteers come to lead gardening experiences with school-age children as a part of a day-long camp program. The Garden Club meets for about 90 minutes each Thursday morning, and the team carefully prepares materials in advance of the club time to make the learning active and engaging. The Garden Camp uses a range of experiences and settings, indoor and outdoor experiences, on-site and off-site learning opportunities.
So this is my first year doing the summer garden camp. Last year they had all the kids in the center, over 20 kids. And so this year we decided to limit it to what we could put in the van so we could go on field trips. We started out, we planted marigolds in the bed outside. So in the concrete squares, each child had a marigold plant that they put in there. I think we ended up with 2 each. We had beets and carrots and peas and potatoes and onions growing in there. And so they harvested all of those. They dug the potatoes. We had a field trip to the urban farm where we looked for bugs, and they found potato beetles and a June bug and several other, bugs in various stages of cucumber moth. And we started spider plants in pots. We did a compost bin, a worm bin.
A second volunteer describes how they have changed the gardening space to be more successful with their kids.
We built these beds along the side here back in 2004, and Anita even helped build them when we did that. And it didn't get much done with it. We plant stuff in there, but we can't really get the kids into it because they turn around and you see how some of them or just want to jump right into the beds and run up and down. And we put some trellises along the side where we grew things that would just grow up, or like vines of different things. That's what we did last year. But this bed makes it easy because they can walk around it.
I think what worked best, one of the things that worked was planting the marigolds, because they can come every week and look at them and say, oh, there's my plant and it's still growing. And when it was really hot and dry, they were able to water them. And I think being able to pick the tomatoes and dig the potatoes was good for them. That worked well. Well, we try to be outside as much as we can, because just keeping them outside, there's a lot more to grab their attention than sitting at a table. We actually do that as little as possible.
In every situation, what do you have to work with? Do you have a garden area or something you can do things with? Or are you small? Like here, this is small and confined compared to what we had over at the other one. And there's different groups that work with the kids, and you have to go with what you have to work with.
You can take them home or you can keep them here, whichever you like.
I want to keep them.
Yeah, you can take it home.
On the day of this filming, the group was scheduled to walk to an off-site community garden location, but Mother Nature had other plans. The volunteers had to regroup and figure out how they could adjust because it was pouring rain. Notice how they selected materials that allowed for hands-on learning. They adapted to an indoor space.
So this morning, Rolla and I talked, and we just came up with different ideas. Like, let's soak some seeds now. If we soak them now in 2 hours, maybe the kids can cut them open. I have some plants that they can cut and do cuttings with. We can talk about water because it's raining. Let's talk about where water goes. I was impressed today with the seeds. Even though they were smashing them and ripping them apart, I think they were learning about that there are different types of seeds and how they grow, and how, there's a little baby in each seed. So I do think that they take it with them, and they'll be able to teach it to their little brother or sister.
They even braved the wet weather and spent some time outside, which the children clearly enjoyed, expending lots of pent-up energy.
See, that's stuff we like to do outside, because once they start getting into the potting soil and stuff like that, after a while the stuff is flying all over the place. That's why I took it outside today, because it gets to a point where they want to play with this stuff, and next thing you know, it's all over.
No, I wish we could have taken them out for a walk today. I was really...
We have a benefit of setting up our classrooms or our learning spaces in different ways. It's really important because my background is in environmental education, and hiking while we're learning and being here for 5 minutes and then moving on, and kind of what we're seeing is framing, we're always going to talk about plants and plant communities. That can happen anywhere. It can happen on a sidewalk, and these plants that are strong enough that they can push through cement, like it can happen anywhere. So letting that happen anywhere and letting students direct that, I think is really important. And I had so many teachers come to me and say, oh, look at so-and-so, they're never like that in the classroom. And so saying, how is it different here? How could you do that in your classroom is really important, because you can't always take your classroom outside, but is there a way you can make your classroom space more mobile? So, and that isn't just saying that in a school setting you're limited, but I think in out of school time too, like, do we have some freedom to move things around? Can we be flexible in where this happens and how it happens?